Welcome back to the Hillbilly RV channel. Today we're going to be going over 10 essential tools and parts to carry in your RV. No, wait just a second. 20. No, wait just a second. The 30. No, wait just a minute. It is my opinion that there's actually a lot of things that you probably should be carrying in your RV as far as tools and also just some spare parts. So I'm going to go over a list of things that I threw together real quick today. I know that I have forgot some things on this list. I'm counting on y'all to go down there in that comment section and straighten me out. Tell me what I forgot to put on the list and what you carry and what you think other people should carry. And now this stuff really also depends on your physical and your mechanical abilities. If you have never worked on anything in your life, then you probably don't need to carry any tools. But if you're a DIYer or just an aspiring DIYer and you have the physical ability to work on stuff, then there's a few things that you really should be carrying with you in your RV. So we're going to go over tools first. And now these tools, you do not have to have Snap-on or Mac or Matco tools. You can just buy cheap tools. I really suggest, as far as your number one thing you need is just a basic set of tools. I really suggest you just go to a box store, Lowe's or Home Depot or whatever, buy a 150 or 250 piece tool set. That'll give you your ratchets, your extensions, your sockets. They usually throw a bunch of other stuff in there, some Allen wrenches. Just a good basic set of tools. And a lot of this stuff, if you're interested, there will be a link to my Amazon store in the description of this video, and a lot of this stuff will be on my Amazon store, so go check that out. And it doesn't cost you any extra to buy stuff off of my store. It's the same price as if you just bought it from Amazon. Only thing is they throw me a few cents for everything I sell. Helps out a little bit. Fairly basic tools. Some of this stuff on this list might be a little more advanced, but it really helps. If you plan on doing any DIY at all, you need this stuff. All right. This I almost forgot to put on the list because it just goes without saying, because I've always got one on me. It's a pocket knife. You need a good knife, whether it's a pocket knife or a utility knife or whatever. You need a good knife. And another very important tool is a multimeter. And you don't have to go buy a $500 fluke meter. Just a basic multimeter will help you, get so many DIY RV projects. Maybe you can't finish them, but maybe you can at least diagnose them, and you'll kind of know what's going on. If you go buy, a set of tools, a few things actually accomplish there. You've got the tools. They typically come in their own toolbox, and a lot of times it's things where you snap things into place, so everything has a place. But you're going to have some screwdrivers probably in that set that you buy. But what you're probably not going to have is a number 2 square drive. I forget, is it a Robertson bit? But it's a number 2 square drive, which 99% of the screws in your camper are number 2 square drive. So make sure you have one of those. Maybe a short one, a long, medium, long one, but you make sure you have a number 2 square drive screwdriver. Now, as far as cordless drills and impact drivers and things like that, it's not imperative that you have one of those, but if I was going to carry one, it would be a cordless screwdriver, not an impact driver. Now, if you want to add an impact driver, that's fine. Nothing wrong with having an impact driver. But if I only had one, I'd have a drill, because it serves so many different purposes. You know, of course, you're going to have some. You buy the drill, you're going to have some bits to go in it. One of them's going to be a number 2 square drive. But you can drive screws with that. You can also buy an adapter, and you're going to have your socket set when you buy your tool set. And you'll be able to use that drill if your RV has the manual scissor jacks, stabilizer jacks up and down. Makes that a super quick job. And I've actually seen people destroy those scissor jacks with an impact driver. They don't really like that impact driver. They're a little tender, so a drill's the perfect tool for that if you don't want to use the manual crank handle. You need a good bottle jack. It's just a hydraulic jack. It's called a bottle jack, and you don't need a huge one. Probably about a 6-ton would lift just about any RV wheel out there. And if you're using that jack to lift a wheel on your RV, be sure and put that ball jack out as near the end of the axle as possible, near the spring, under the spring if possible. But yeah, you don't want to be back too far from the wheel, because you can bend your axle. Again, stuff's getting cheaper and chintzier all the time, and yeah, you got to be careful not to tear up more than you're trying to fix. Now, as far as changing a tire or something, you can go as basic as you're going to have your sockets, so in a bind you could just use your socket set. But sometimes those lug nuts can be very tight. Somebody goes full grill on somewhere with an impact wrench and they're too tight. They're pretty hard to get off sometimes with just a socket and a ratchet. So you could go as basic as having a 4-way lug wrench. And you can put a lot of pressure on a lug nut with a 4-way lug wrench. Or if you want to get really fancy, you can get a 1/2-inch cordless impact. Of course, then if you have the cordless impact, then you need the impact sockets, the black sockets. Yeah, you can use chrome sockets out of your tool set, but you're probably going to damage the sockets. So yeah, if you're going to go that route, just go ahead and get you a small set of impact sockets. All right, kind of on the same note, if you have a wheel bearing issue, which we're going to go over the list of spare parts to carry here in a minute, and this will come into play. Have some heavy duty grease, some wheel bearing grease, a small tub of it with you in case you need that. Other lubricants, just some kind of aerosol lubricant, not WD-40. WD-40 doesn't lubricate anything. There's a lot of other lubricants out there. Silicone base wouldn't be bad to have. Some kind of oil based wouldn't be bad to have. And some aerosol brake cleaner comes in super handy for a lot of different projects. Have some rags. Yeah, everybody's got towels and spare t-shirts, but just have a small box of rags. You can buy those, like the paper towel rags, the blue rags. You keep those in your RV. They'll really come in handy. Be sure you have some duct tape and some electrical tape. Both those, you can use those for a plethora of projects. So just make sure you got some duct tape and some electrical tape. Would not hurt if your RV has a rubber roof to have some roof repair tape. Eternabond. What that is designed for is if you get a hole in your roof, it's made to patch that roof. It's not, it's not designed to build a whole roof out of. And for patching a hole, it's a fantastic fix. The brake cleaner will come in handy there. You can clean the roof around it before you put the repair tape on it. The rags to wipe the brake clean off. I had a comment on a video the other day that guy's like, I can't believe you use brake clean on your roof. Another guy sprayed on his roof, sprayed on his skylight. It made the skylight milky and damaged his roof. And I'm like, how much brake clean did that dude use? If you've ever watched my videos, you've seen me clean a roof before I patch it or do other work. I spray a little brake clean on it, I wipe it off. Okay, you gotta be smart, people. you really should have a decent tire gauge. I see a lot of flats, get a lot of calls on flats, blowouts, tear the sides of campers up, and I think most of that is people will have a tire that either has a slow leak or they just never check the air, and they run that tire low. Well, you know, you run a tire low, it's going to explode, and you know, it's going to come apart, and when it does, it's going to tear a bunch of stuff up. So have you a decent tire gauge. There again, you don't have to have the bestest one out there. Just a simple basic tire gauge. Check the air in your tires periodically. Make sure you don't run them low, and you'll have a lot less issues. You know, if you want, you may have a small air compressor. Now they do make things that are a jump pack, which is really handy to have, which wasn't actually on my list until I put this air compressor. But they make things now. I'll try and find one. I'll put one. Surely goodness Amazon has one. It'll be down there in my store. You know, it's the air compressor. It's a jump pack. It's light, emergency light. A lot of things built into one. Those are actually pretty handy. Yeah, I mean, it's not like you're not filling a tire every day. I hope if you've got a leaky tire, you get the tire fixed. But in a pinch, you know, that jump box could come in really handy. If your batteries ever go dead on your RV and you need to get your rooms in or something to travel, or you know, jump pack can come in really handy for that. So yeah, and that's kind of a 3-in-1 tool. Maybe there'd be even more to it. I don't know, but I'll investigate that and let you know down there. I can't believe that this is so far down on my list, but you ought to have a decent hammer. You never know when you want to beat the crap out of something. You can have a regular hammer, you can have a dead blow hammer, you can have a rubber hammer, but yeah, have a good hammer. Have a tape measure. There's just so many times that I've had people call and, you know, asking about a repair, and I go, well, can you give me some dimensions so that, you know, that I can make sure that I have the right part before I come down? And he's like, well, I don't have a tape measure. Carry a tape measure in your RV. It takes up very little bit of room. There may be one in that tool set you buy. Really handy is some zip ties. People call them different things. Zip ties, the wire ties, you know, the nylon zippy thing is, you know, it's come in super handy. You can have different sizes, really small ones, medium ones, large ones, but they don't take up a lot of room, and they can come in really handy. Yeah, I think that does it for the tool side of my list. I was really just trying to get a basic list together. Now, let's talk spare parts, okay? Now, as far as these spare parts go, you may not be comfortable doing any of these repairs yourself, but you never know when you may need one of these parts. You're in the middle of nowhere where there's no access to these parts. And, you know, if you have the spare parts with you, then all you have to do is find somebody to help you or somebody to do the repair. But having the parts sometimes is the big thing, because even if you're not in the middle of nowhere, some of these parts, if you had to order them, you may have to wait for 3 days or a week to get. So if you've got your own spare parts with you, it speeds the process up greatly. All right, if you have a travel trailer or a fifth wheel that has leaf springs, I would definitely carry one complete set of things to fix a spring if you break a spring, because it happens a lot, or I see it happen a lot, is broken springs. And you need a spring, the whole spring assembly. As far as I know, you need U-bolts, because the U-bolts that hold the spring to the axle, as far as I know, they are a torque to yield bolt. You're not supposed to reuse them. So have a set of U-bolts, there's 2, with nuts. You don't need the plate, but you need the U-bolts and the nuts. You really should have a couple of spare shackle bolts. They usually come in a 2-pack or a 4-pack. I believe a 2-pack. You really ought to have a couple of shackles. Okay. Yeah, there's other components in your suspension system, but you just really don't see the other stuff break too often. So those are, as far as I'm concerned, those are essentials if you have a travel trailer with leaf springs. All right, so as far as your brake hub and your bearings, I don't care what kind of trailer you're pulling, whether it's a car trailer, a travel trailer, a fifth wheel, a horse trailer, I don't care what it is. I think you should be carrying a spare brake hub, a set of bearings, a spare nut that holds it all together. There's usually a washer behind that. I would carry that. And there's different kinds of retainers that keep that nut from backing off. Some of it's as simple as a cotter pin, some are more elaborate. Depends on your axle. You need to know what you have, and you need to have spare parts for that. The complete thing, like I say, brake hub, bearing, a set of bearings, washer, nut, retainer, a dust cap. You should have that stuff with you. Now, as far as, you know, like appliance parts and things like that, you know, that's kind of a gray area, I think, because, you know, as far as I'm concerned, any decent RV repair shop or even a mobile guy should have some very basic appliance parts. Will they have everything? No. Nobody in the world's got every part for every RV that's ever built, but they should have a really good basic supply. So I wouldn't worry too much about appliance parts. I mean, if you really want to carry some parts, if you have a Dometic furnace, carry a cell switch. It may not hurt to have a dinosaur board. If your furnace is just about out of warranty or is already out of warranty, it wouldn't hurt to have a dinosaur board, because your furnace is just kind of something that you kind of need when you need it, you know. Air conditioning, unless you're like elderly, have, you know, breathing issues or whatever, you ain't gonna die if you don't have air conditioning. But the furnace is kind of important. But as far as air conditioner parts, yeah, there's so many parts in those systems that, yeah, it'd be hard for you to do. So as far as I'm concerned, if you wanted to carry in appliance parts, the only thing that's really essential is your furnace. If you're going to be camping when it's cold, if you never camp when it's cold, don't worry about it. So yeah, I think that is it. I know for a fact that I forgot some stuff. Oh, yeah, well, I did forget some stuff on that side. I know for a fact I've forgotten some stuff, but that's a pretty good list. That's going to take up a little bit of room in your RV if you have all that stuff, and it needs to be organized so that when you need it, you can find it, because it doesn't do any good to have it if you can't find it. So you need to organize it, whether you put all this stuff. You know, of course, you're going to have your toolbox when you go buy your set of tools, I hope. But have a tote with this other stuff in it, so it's handy, and so you can find it when you need it, because you never know. You may break down at night. You know, the weather may be bad, and you need access to this stuff quickly. So just make sure you organize it so you can find it. So that's going to be it for this video. Really appreciate you watching. Don't forget to go down there and check out those links. I'll find as much of this stuff as I can on Amazon. There's a lot of other links going on down there too. My email, my Patreon, my PayPal, the merch link, all that stuff's going on down there. And I am not going to go down the road and fix another one. I'm actually going to stay here. I'm going to edit this video and get it ready to upload to YouTube. And y'all have a fantastic day. We'll catch you next time.